Hi guys, it's Matt. Welcome to the video. I am a compulsive gambler in recovery and like to think of myself as your mind and movement mentor here to help you. So today I want to talk about how the gambling companies want to continue to take all of your money. I am reluctant for this to become a gambling bashing video. I realise that a lot of people enjoy gambling as a celebration, a cheeky flutter, a fun pastime, recreation. So I am a complete thoroughbred compulsive gambler, but I realise a lot of people can enjoy it. I don't drink any alcohol, and in the same way I wouldn't encourage, or I wouldn't proactively rather want to lobby for alcohol to be removed from the marketplace. I kind of am careful with the angle that I take and the approach that I take on this. Having said all of that, I do feel like there are some sinister tactics that are used. At the end of the day, they are businesses with shareholders, stakeholders that need to make a profit. And the regulations are what they are, and they may move. There is a percentage of problem gamblers, which does seem to be ever increasing, subject to which data you look at and how frequently you do look at it. It does seem to be increasing on an alarming trajectory. But I feel like there is some sinister goings on that can happen. I think the first thing is the manner in which gambling is just incredibly normalised. I am a huge football fan, and everything from the shirt sponsors on the chest to the LED screens around the ground to whenever there is a break in play, half time, the latest live running odds constantly in your face. There is the whole kind of pre-match build-up, get excited for the game, what will make it more exciting, have some money on it, make it more interesting if it's not the teams that you support. And there's kind of a whole culture around sport in generally, but in particular football, and boxing is another big one as well. I noticed the live odds coming up in between rounds, which is like every 3 minutes. That it just makes it incredibly normal. And I guess that's fine if you're not a compulsive addict. But if you are, then there is kind of almost like a theory of bandwidth that you may just get to a tipping point of, to a degree out of sight, out of mind. If you've maybe excluded yourself from going into high street bookmakers, or you've done some of the gambling blocks online, it can start to creep back into your life just purely on exposure if you enjoy watching sport, which most people do. Another thing as well, I think, is I've been an online customer in the past, and it is nigh on impossible to close the accounts down. And all the time that they are active, you are sent marketing messages, often promos, often things like free bets, which just aren't what they seem. They kind of lead with the idea of you can stake £25 on this football match, and whatever you win is yours. It's never that straightforward in my experience when you look at the terms and conditions and read the small print. Often you have to kind of play the money through a few times before you're able to withdraw it. And again, that kind of plays into the idea of the account is open longer, it doesn't get closed down. It's been a while since I've looked into some of this, so some of this summary that I'm giving you here might be slightly outdated, but I remember it just being very, very difficult to close accounts and kind of create any kind of distance. Now, I know some places have got a lot better at self-exclusions that you can do. You can do like what's called a Moses self-exclusion, which is multi-service operators. So you don't need to go into the chains directly. You can make a phone call and they'll circulate your details and circulate your photograph. But I also find it hard not to believe, and maybe this is just the conspiracy theorist in me, and I would love to know this, and if anyone has got any insider knowledge, if you will, please comment below, because you never know what is true and what's not. But I'd be very, very surprised if there isn't some kind of hierarchical nature going on that is looking at your patterns of gambling, which is probably easily tracked under the guise of like KYC, know your customer, so that you're being screened for kind of criminal fraud and criminal proceedings and things like that. And there's something to be said for, in the same way when you open a bank account, there's certain regulations. There is with money changing hands, there's a consideration there. But I would be surprised if gambling habits are not being monitored to the point where, if you are someone that is often playing a certain kind of game, one of the online slots, that they will lead with some free credit for that to entice you back in, or if there's been an X period of time which is considered long time for you, again, because they've got kind of like your pattern on probably some kind of algorithm these days of a pattern, they can pick up on it, and then they can market you at the time, whether it's maybe close to payday or if it was often the end of the month that you were. I would genuinely love to know. I am in the dark a bit about this. I have heard stories of like VIP customers in the past at establishments like Paddy Power being sent gifts when they've not been in touch. And, they've got high net worth clients who, yes, arguably have got good firepower to spend, so they're maybe not going hungry and the gas bill's not being paid, but they are clearly someone experiencing a level of distorted relationship with gambling, and it's an account manager or someone in that company's responsibility to maybe send them like a gesture of will, good like gifts to reignite the relationship so that they come back to play. And that is obviously something that you massively, massively want to be on high alert for if you are a compulsive gambler. In the modern day, you often see betting shops clustered on the high street, often in low socioeconomic areas. That's probably not going to change anytime soon. You have to kind of, in my opinion, take your own proactive measures, do the self-exclusions, do the gam stop and things like that online, and really be proactive. But at the same time, with my relatively limited knowledge of what I've done in the past and some of the research that I've done, it does seem like the gambling companies can do a lot more, especially on the basis of the fact that there are a lot of people struggling. So, if it's normalized, if it's difficult for you to kind of step away, if it's in your face all the time, if you're trying to recover and take some time out and then you're getting proactively messaged, whether it's text message, whether it's email, if you're being incentivized and things like that, then in my opinion, that is very, very wrong. And I know that there's a lot of revenue generated for tax and other things that helps the world spin and helps kind of the government put the money in the coffers. But you just want to be wise to this. You want to kind of take it a bit personally as a compulsive gambler, that you always want to think of it like they know who you are, they know what you're capable of, and they're coming to get more of your money. And I know that with me, that didn't sit right with me, and that kind of added another layer of leverage on top of the gazillion reasons that there already was to cease gambling. So I hope that helps. If you've got any experience or have a greater understanding of this, I'd love a debate in the comments around the way these companies work. So I'm sure I'm on the right lines with some of this, even if I haven't got kind of the full answers. And as always, please share these videos with someone who you know might be struggling. I always say I make these videos for a younger version of me and the kind of content I would have liked to have watched many years ago that might have cut my gambling career shorter and given me some epiphany moments earlier. And please support the channel in whichever way you can by liking and subscribing. Be very grateful, and I will see you on the next video very soon.